Good morning and welcome, thank you, and welcome to the Founders Day Convocation for 2024. As we prepare to begin, please take a moment and out of respect for the occasion, we would ask that you remove any ball caps that you might be wearing and to please silence your cell phones. At this time, I invite you to stand as you are able for our processional. Thank you.
Would you please pray with me? Heavenly Father, as we gather this morning to celebrate Founders Day, we thank you for your never-ending goodness. The Psalms compel us to direct our thanks to you, for you are good and your love will endure forever. Lord, this morning I thank you for those who are gathered in this chapel. Thank you for our faculty and staff. Thank you for our alumni, and certainly we thank you for our students. But most of all, we thank you for the life and sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Lord, we invite your presence here today. We ask for your help and your guidance as we go about our lives. I ask for your blessing upon Georgetown College, and not for our own gain, but so that we may glorify you and expand your kingdom. Lord, we are blessed by your tremendous grace and mercy. Please forgive us of our mistakes and wrongdoings, and please use us in a way that brings others closer to you. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
You may be seated. Oh, it's so good to see all of you here on this Founders Day 2024. I really love this convocation because it's our opportunity to think about the college more deeply, to reflect backward on our history, think about how far we've come, the things that we have accomplished, the things we have not accomplished over the nearly 200 years that this institution has been around. And it allows us to, as a result, aspire to the future for the things that we will do to make this institution stronger and better in the years to come. Thank you for being here, for being part of this community that means so much to the college. I mean, this college exists because you are here, both those of you who are alumni, who are back to reflect on what has been the past of the institution, and those of you who are current students who are looking toward what your futures will be as you graduate from this college. So thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy this program and the presentation that you will hear from Dr. Ward. But first, we have the presentation of the Curry Award for Faculty Excellence from Provost Dr. Jonathan Sands-Wise.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Students, I will note that the Nexus code is on the program, so you can search for it on there. The Curry Award for Faculty Excellence is named in honor of Dr. Ralph Curry and Dr. Gwen Curry, and reflects what they most valued and epitomized during their service at Georgetown College. Both were leaders of the faculty and chairs of the English department who worked to ensure meaningful shared governance balanced with a commitment to research and exceptional caring teaching. You can read more about each of them in the program. It is appropriate, given their lives and interests, that the award named for these exceptional Georgetonians is given each year to a faculty member that demonstrates these same qualities: service to faculty, excellence in research, and dedication to students. Judging by both the quantity and quality of the letters received nominating this year's winner, it would be difficult to find a more deserving recipient. Nominators detail how this professor has been tireless in service to the institution, taking on the sometimes thankless jobs of committee work, both assigned and voluntary, and working to improve everything this person touches. Athletes all know that some players will mail it in occasionally, and others are all in every time they're on the field or court. That is this professor. She does not simply serve, she improves, going far beyond what is required simply because she can and it needs to be done. And in doing so, she makes everyone around her better as well. Likewise, in service to her department, she has constantly worked to improve the majors and program offerings for her students, making sure that they have the preparation they need as they go on to graduate and professional schools. She has done all of this while being thrust into leadership in an early stage because of helping to take over a department that was in difficult times, and she has done it with endless grace and goodwill. Her door is always open. Students frequently work with her on research or stop by to ask for assistance, and she advises over 30 students nearly every term. When it comes to research, this professor has done internationally acclaimed work, serving as an athletic trainer for the U.S. Paralympic women's wheelchair basketball team, and has helped to develop a concussion protocol based on balance for athletes with physical disabilities. She has worked with a local Parkinson's group, and she has helped students with everything from an honors thesis to developing a needed prosthesis. And while this person has received a gold medal at the Paralympics, I have no doubt that she will receive even more pleasure in today's award. Certainly, I am proud to announce that this year's Curry Award winner is Dr. Carla Francioni.
Good morning. I'm Curtis Sandberg. I'm the Vice President for Student Success and Dean of Students. It's my honor right now, I get to introduce the SGA officers, the Student Government Association officers, and administer their oath of office. Prior to doing that, I do want to take this moment and acknowledge Ms. Gabby Dixon, who serves in a great role of supporting the SGA as an advisor, and just thank you for your work with them. So I will now introduce the SGA officers for this year, and then we will administer the oath of office. So if you would come forward, sorry, yep, there you go. Zach Hamner is SGA president for this year, and the term of office goes from December to January, follows the calendar year. Zach is a junior majoring in political science and economics. He holds leadership roles as the president of Lambda Chi Alpha and treasurer of Omicron Delta Kappa. Hailing from Georgetown, Kentucky, Zach brings some great experiences to his position as SGA president. Diane Alvarado, vice president. A junior majoring in Spanish and sociology with an emphasis in criminal justice, Diana also serves as the president of ODK Honor Society and Students and Survivors. She is also the RHC, the Residence Hall Coordinator for Collier Hall. Like Zach, she's from Georgetown, Kentucky, and brings strong commitment to leadership and service. Evan Spencer, Vice President for Academic Affairs. Evan is a junior, studies English and philosophy. He's not only the captain of the mock trial team, but also the president of the President's House Association. Evan's academic focus and leadership experiences are key assets in his role, and he also comes from Georgetown, Kentucky. Jackson Butler, Vice President for Community Affairs. A junior majoring in allied health, Jackson is an active member of the IFC and serves as a recruitment chair for Lambda Chi Alpha. His hometown is Frankfort, Kentucky, and his involvement in community affairs is marked by a blend of health focus and fraternity leadership. Caden Turner, Vice President for Public Relations. Caden is studying allied health as a junior, is also part of Lambda Chi Alpha. His background and skills are pivotal in his role as the VP for Public Relations. Caden hails from Frankfort, Kentucky, bringing a set of strong skills to SGA. Garrett Boring, parliamentarian. Garrett, a junior majoring in political science, is involved in various activities including IFC, Model UN, and Lambda Chi Alpha, where he serves as the social chair. He is also an assistant in the Department of Political Science. Garrett's extensive experience in campus involvement complements his role as parliamentarian. He is also from Georgetown, Kentucky. As you congratulate SGA for their accomplishment. We will now administer the oath of office. As members of the Georgetown College Student Government Association Executive Council, do you solemnly pledge to diligently fulfill the responsibilities of your role within SGA?
Yes.
All right. In undertaking these duties, will you faithfully honor and uphold the heritage and mission of Georgetown College, strive wholeheartedly to promote the welfare of all students, facilitate their active participation in the college's development and operations, focus educational opportunities through student engagement both on campus and within the broader community, act as a dedicated liaison between the student body and college administration, and lead with exemplary integrity and commitment to positive influence. If you accept these responsibilities, please affirm by saying, "I will."
I will.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Good morning, everyone. As Curtis mentioned, my name is Zach Hamner. If you've not had the opportunity to meet me yet, I am your 2024 SGA president. As Curtis also mentioned, I'm from here in town, so I've had the rare opportunity to watch Georgetown College grow for many years since before I even went here. I would like to take this time to first welcome you all back to campus. I hope you all had a restful and enjoyable break. Specifically to all the seniors here today, I wish you all a great last semester as you work towards graduation and transitioning into the next stage of your lives. To all the other underclassmen, I hope that you appreciate and cherish every day that you have this year, because before you know it, you too will be a senior moving on to a new chapter of your life. We are all very, very blessed to be able to be here at this great college, and I urge each of you to make the most of your time here and strive to be the best version of yourself every day. On that note, I would like to note that SGA 2024 has already been hard at work discussing plans for this year. We are starting to propose new projects to help the environment around campus and beyond. We recognize that every single person here is making even just a small effort to make a difference, and we, as SGA, want every person at Georgetown to be involved in making that impact. We are also working on opportunities where you, the students, can share your opinions and voices on all sorts of things, so that we can then give that information directly to administration. Our goal is to help the college develop campus life opportunities for the most important group here, the students. Finally, you guys can also hopefully look forward to SGA partnering with a local philanthropy so that we can start a tradition as a student body of helping people in need right here in our community. I want to thank all of you for allowing me to hold this position as well as speak here today. I hope that you heed my advice and focus on enjoying every single day that you have in college, because they will hold some of the best memories of your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. My name is Alan Reddit. For the last 5 semesters, it's been my privilege to serve as president of the Georgetown College Alumni Board, and I'm delighted to be with you today. I'm also delighted to be able to hand off leadership. More about that in just a moment, and when we'll make an introduction. The purpose of the Alumni Board of Georgetown College is to support the mission and leadership of our beloved school. There are lots of ways that we do that. Alumni of Georgetown College are known as people who give back, and specifically who give back to our beloved alma mater. We do that sometimes by giving of our time. Many alumni serve on boards and committees and in other advisory roles. Sometimes we give of our talents. Among the alumni, you will find speakers in endowed lecture series and in classrooms across the disciplines, coaches, mentors, and those in the workforce who offer internships and other opportunities to grow. Sometimes alumni of Georgetown College give of our treasure, and I'm happy to say that once again this year, the Alumni Board has 100% financial support in an annual contribution to our school. And we always give by way of our Thanksgiving, in that each alum of this school serves as an ambassador, proudly reminding one another and the community around us that Georgetown College is recognized year after year as the best college or university in the Commonwealth in terms of preparedness to enter graduate school or the workforce. We're delighted to serve our school. This morning, it's my privilege to introduce a couple of other members of the Alumni Board who are with us today. To my right and your left, the Reverend Ken Hale. Ken, would you stand? Ken, a wonderful servant, a wonderful minister, and perhaps the greatest musician, in my humble opinion, to come through Georgetown College. And we're so glad to have Ken and often Sandy with him. We're thrilled that you're here today. And my number one role this morning is to introduce our new Alumni Board president. I'm delighted to introduce Mr. Mike Eichberger. Mike, would you stand and remain standing? Mike is someone that I've known for well over a decade. I first came to know him well as a student when we went on a mission trip together to New Orleans and continued the cleanup efforts there some years ago. But he is most famous in Georgetown lore as being a member of the most exclusive club on campus, and that is of former basketball student managers who have slept with a national championship banner as their blanket. And so nothing could qualify Mike more, but he will do a fantastic job. Mike Eichberger, thank you for serving as our new president. Please join me in thanking Mike. As I close, let me also acknowledge Mr. Mayor Bernie Jenkins. Thank you for your presence here today and for passing me in middle school PE all those years ago. I sure appreciate that, from one proud alumnus to another. And lastly, for those who are watching online, we want to extend our welcome and our thanks for our military personnel all around the world, some who serve on our alumni board and others serving in many, many places in defenses of our freedom around the world. Alums, friends, family, neighbors, I'm so glad we can be together on campus this day. President Allen, your alumni board.
I am so grateful for the active participation of our alumni board, and I want every current student to think about that as something for their future, that it is hard to remember right now when you're just a student here and you're thinking that you just are hoping to get to graduation, that one of the things that you will want to do someday is to keep your connection to the college and aspire to be one of those people who are successful and engaged and interested in the possibility of joining our alumni board, and certainly being active in our alumni association moving forward. And again, thank you for the alumni board members who are here. My primary task at the moment is to introduce our speaker for today. Now, I'm going to let you read the brief biography in your program for the basic facts of Dr. Roger Ward's background and academic qualifications for giving this talk. And he will be telling you about this current project that he's working on that has resulted in the information that he will be sharing in his Founders Day presentation. But I want to add a few things to explain why I am so pleased to be welcoming Dr. Ward to the stage. He and I have been colleagues at Georgetown College for almost 28 years, which means, students, I have known Dr. Ward for a lot longer than you've been alive. From the very beginning, he has been a creative thinker with an extraordinary rapport with students and a willingness to learn new things, always to learn new things. His engagement with students earned him the John Walker Manning Distinguished Mentor and Teacher Award. His leadership among faculty led him to be a recipient of the Curry Award for Faculty Excellence. And his commitment to the support of the mission of the college means he also received the George Walker Redding Christian Service Award. Yes, he has been key also to bringing large grants to the college to fund a number of initiatives. But what impresses me is how his heart and soul are committed to his scholarship and to his students and to his colleagues and to projects that make a difference to human understanding and social justice. His work, like the college itself, is rooted in Christian love and service. And I'm honored to welcome Dr. Roger Ward to give the 2024 Founders Day address.
Well, good morning. Madam President, members of the board, esteemed faculty colleagues, members of staff, students, and special guests, I am honored to speak to you this morning. Since the college's founding nearly 200 years ago, Georgetown has changed its form of organization and instruction to meet the demands of the times. The constant among change, however, is the story of the college and our shared interest in educating students in the beauties and excellences of human life and meaning. Open minds are free to explore all the wonders of creation and bring this goodness to reality in their lives and stories. This mission in liberal arts education is based on our commitment to Christian love and service, where character and intelligence come to focus on purposeful living. How we accomplish this, the meaning of Georgetown College, is an ongoing story, our saga. Last year, the college received a grant from the Network for Vocation and Undergraduate Education, or NetView, a program of the Council of Independent Colleges. NetView is the result of work done by Georgetown and other colleges sponsored by the Lilly Endowment in the last 20 or 30 years. NetView is continuing and expanding its work, and one of their programs provides money for the college to reframe the institutional saga. Today, I will tell you how that work is going and where we are with the saga so far. Our work focuses on the most significant events and decisions affecting the college in our relatively recent past. The separation of the college from the Kentucky Baptist Convention in 2005, faculty involvement in asking for a change in presidential leadership in 2012, and the board action to replace a president in 2022 that brought Dr. Allen into her current role. Each of these events shows brave commitment to the college's mission and what its future should be. We are conducting interviews, Ed Smith is doing my video work, with people involved in these episodes for a documentary film and writing a book that will be done this year, I promise. But as we often tell our students, the first step in inquiry is understanding the context of action. Recently, we've taken students to the Equal Justice Initiative in Montgomery, Alabama. John Hinkle's been leading those trips. We heard stories of suffering based on race, family farms and businesses stolen or destroyed, lynchings, imprisonments of innocent people, but we also heard stories of courage and the resilience of the Black community. So we began to wonder about the era of civil rights and racial integration at Georgetown College and the experiences of our earliest Black students. In Kentucky, the Day Law from 1904 prohibited white and colored persons from attending the same school. This law was challenged in the 1940s and some exceptions were made, for example, Berea College. Other universities like University of Kentucky were pushed toward integration by their boards. Such efforts were not evident at Georgetown, but in 1954, the Supreme Court ruling of Brown versus Board of Education rendered the Day Law unconstitutional. In light of the ruling, Kentucky institutions like Georgetown had to find their own way to leaving the era of Jim Crow. According to the published history of the college, the first black students were Joseph Adowu and Christopher Ozwamke, Nigerians who enrolled at the college in 1956. These students were sponsored by college alumni serving as Southern Baptist missionaries in Africa. Although the college welcomed the Nigerian students, Georgetown Baptist Church, where the pair sought membership, did not. Some college faculty, George Walker Redding, H.Y. Mulliken, Horace Hambrick Sr., led an effort to include them in membership and succeeded in 1957, over the objection of their pastor. Following this event, the writer says the desegregation of the college proceeded peacefully and fully. But this telling of the story overlooks the crucial fact that these were not the first black students to attend Georgetown. It also suppresses the resistance and struggles faced by these students. We found this out by looking through copies of the college yearbook and finding names and making phone calls, and Glenn Tull has been a great help in doing that work. Through these conversations, we heard stories of women and men who were really at the forefront of integrating Georgetown College. In 1955, 4 local black students enrolled at Georgetown: Meta Mason, Betty Jackson, William Howard Garner, and Sarah Jane Connor. According to Mrs. Mason, her pastor at First Baptist decided it was time to integrate the college. He and A.L. Pearson, pastor of Zion Baptist, chose these students to enroll at the college. Allow me to introduce you to these groundbreaking students. Sarah Jane Connor focused on music education and attended Georgetown from 1955 to 1959. She was one course shy of graduating when she left Georgetown for Cincinnati. Her obituary mentions her role as one of the first black students at Georgetown. Dolores Vinegar, who is here today, her cousin, recounted the energy of engagement in the black community of Georgetown at that time. Sarah Jane excelled in music and led choirs in Stamping Ground and Georgetown, including the 100 Voices Choir that performed in Kentucky and out of state, and churches for many years in Cincinnati area. We lament that we did not pursue this project earlier, so we could have honored her while she was alive. We recognize her daughter, Alice, Mrs. Vinegar, and the family of Sarah Jane Connor. Thank you. Betty Jackson was a student for 2 years, studying nursing in 1955 and 1956. With this preparation, she moved to Lexington and worked at the UK hospital for 30 years in dietary services. After retiring, she was a business owner and interior decorator. Her husband and daughter, Patricia, are with us today. William Howard Garner, Reverend Garner, as he was known, began preaching in 1944 and was a graduate of Simmons College in Louisville. Reverend Garner, also a World War II veteran, owned a store and organized a church that met in his house on Main Street. When he began attending Georgetown in 1955, he was 37 years old. Reverend Garner was a Scott County native with ties to First Baptist. According to his obituary from 1974, he had family in Lexington and Michigan. We honor Reverend Garner's service to our country, to our church, and to our college. Meta Mason completed 2 years at Georgetown before taking a position at the Federal Depot in Columbus, Ohio, from which she retired after 40 and a half years. We asked her what her work was, and she said, "If I told you, I'd have to kill you." In 1955, Meta was married and had a daughter to care for when she left Kentucky State for Georgetown College. Her family helped care for her daughter when she was in class. Ed and I talked to her a couple of weeks ago in her retirement facility in Columbus. Here's a short video of Meta talking about the effort to integrate the college, a swimming class she took here, and her selection.
I'm Meta Mason. I grew up in Georgetown, Kentucky, and I joined the First Baptist Church. My mother took us every Sunday, and we had to sit on the front row because she was in the choir, and we made sure we behaved, because if she looked over there, you got it when you got home.
How did you decide to go to Georgetown College?
Oh, that was after I got married and had my daughter, and so that was close. It was cheaper. And then the church, black churches got together and they had planned to integrate the college. So they picked 4 students, and I was one of them. And I didn't know, what to expect, but I just hoped for the best, because of so many other experiences that they were having at other places, like Alabama, Louisiana, and Georgia, and places like that. But we didn't have anything like that. Being a Christian college, I wasn't afraid of anything. I just wanted to go to school. I remember taking history, and I took biology, and then I had to take some music classes because I play for my church sometime, and I wanted to learn more about music. And the first day we went to theory class, the professor asked us how many knew how to play by ear. And I thought that was a crazy question. And then half of them held up their hands. I didn't know how to play by ear. So he told us that the object of that class was to learn to play by ear. I think I'm going to go to college to learn to play by ear. Yeah, sounded kind of dumb at the time. But I had 2 good years there. And then they said I was qualified to join Delta Omicron. That made me feel good,
And Delta Omicron is a music
fraternity, yeah. Honorary.
Yeah.
So I qualified with my grades and made the cut. And then I took French. We didn't have languages at Davis. So I took French, which I enjoyed. I'll tell you a funny story. I said, well, I'll see if they really want me here. I signed up for swimming class in the period just before lunch. That way I could go home and put my hair back together. Back in the day, they didn't have relaxers, So that was the funny thing. It was me seeing if they would accept me, and then me having to go home and do my hair. Don't believe everything you hear. Believe what you experience, And for instance, the Delta Omicron went to Father's Restaurant. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was all white. And somebody said they made me sit in the back. Well, the cook was one of our neighbors, and she said, tell them, stop that lie, because she was right up front with those white girls. The big thing, I think, is getting to know other people and getting to experience and prepare you for later on in life,
University in languages and business. Her daughter graduated from University of Cincinnati with a degree in international studies and worked as a flight attendant for American Airlines. With her access to flights, she took META all over the world: Thailand, Japan, Germany, Italy, England. META told us she always had a bag packed, ready to go. We are delighted to celebrate the part META played in integrating our college and sharing the story of her extraordinary life. Please help me acknowledge Mrs. Mason and thank her for her part in Georgetown. Even though these students did not complete degrees at Georgetown, their lives reflect the impact of the education and community they found here. They changed the college forever by their presence. Others would follow in their footsteps, enrolling at Georgetown in preparation for careers in ministry, music, education, and sports. Here are several notable students from this period in our history. Arthur Smith came to Georgetown from Louisville for 1 year in 1961. His friend Alice Bottoms, who's here today, said she knew him from junior high school. He was president of the youth branch of the NAACP in Louisville and in Kentucky, and he led protests there against segregated restaurants. Alice said Arthur wasn't afraid to put his foot in the water. She doesn't know why he chose to attend Georgetown, but it may have been the college's reputation as the flagship educational institution of Kentucky Baptists, and that he received a scholarship to study ministry here. Arthur lived on campus with a white roommate in Pauling Hall when that was a dorm, and Alice said his roommate was goofy. Goofy or not, we think this is the first interracial housing on Georgetown's campus. And if you know what was going on in Mississippi and other states at the time, that's a pretty big deal. Arthur's aunt provided him a car that he used to travel each weekend between Louisville and Georgetown, and he gave Alice rides to Kentucky State, where she attended. Her mother offered to pay him money for the rides, but he declined. He would take pie, however, so Alice's mother would have a pie ready for him every Friday. Racism was still evident in the community, however. In the spring of 1962, Arthur was sharing a meal with some white and black friends from University of Kentucky at a drive-in restaurant in Lexington. Some angry whites, incensed by such flagrant mixing of races, attacked them with a tire iron and pointed a rifle at one of the white students. Arthur and the other black students, who were trained in nonviolence, remained in the car during the attack. A news item in the Lexington newspaper identified the students who were attacked, but not the white attackers. No legal action was taken against them. After a year at Georgetown, Arthur returned to Louisville, and in 1966, he became pastor of Portland Memorial Baptist, where he served for 47 years. He returned to Georgetown occasionally to preach at Zion Baptist. His son, Stephen, followed him as pastor at Portland Memorial, and we're thrilled he is with us today, along with Ms. Carol Bottoms and others from the church. We celebrate and acknowledge Arthur Smith's contribution to the story of Georgetown College. The first black student to complete a degree at Georgetown was Scotty Edwards in 1968. A native of Princeton, Kentucky, Scotty came as a triple sport recruit: basketball, football, and track. His sister, Gloria Sams, said he was very talented and very quick. She related a story about an experience Scotty brought with him to the college that few people would know. Gloria told me that when she was 9 years old, 2 years younger than Scotty, she and her mother were leaving a fair in Princeton. A group of white boys in a car chased them down a dirt road. She and her mother had to run away. The strain caused her mother to have a heart attack and die. Since their father had already died, this broke up the household, and Scotty and Gloria moved away to Indianapolis to live with an older sibling. Scotty began his athletic career by winning a city basketball championship in Indianapolis as an 8th grader. He returned to Princeton for high school, where he set county records in track and football. He had scholarship offers from several colleges, but he and his older brother visited Georgetown and decided to attend here. At Georgetown, Scotty continued his academic and athletic career. He attended Zion Baptist and through that connection met Nancy Graves, who he married. They lived in student housing, and Nancy worked at a pencil factory in town. When Scotty graduated, he was recognized as the most outstanding athlete in 1968. After graduation, the family moved to Indianapolis, and he worked for the Department of Agriculture, retiring in 2008. Scotty passed in 2020, but we are glad to acknowledge his daughter Deetra and her aunts Ann Graves and Flora Graves, who are here this morning. The first black female graduate is Doris Cooper. Mrs. Cooper is from Georgetown, and her father said she could go to college as long as she lived at home. Fortunately for her and for us, Georgetown met her career goals in education. After completing her undergraduate degree in 1969, Doris began teaching elementary school in Scott County. She later earned a master's degree also from Georgetown in 1976. Joanna Hurd, a mutual friend and fellow educator, told me confidentially that Doris was the best second grade teacher she could ever imagine for her daughter. Mrs. Cooper retired from Scott County Schools in 1996. We're so pleased to have you here this morning. The students we've met so far have been from Georgetown. Here are two students who came from out of state to Georgetown College. Greg Spalding grew up in Cincinnati and was thinking about playing football at the college. One day he overheard a grocery store clerk talking about how much she loved Georgetown. He asked her more about the college, and she found and gave him the football number of the football coach. The coach gave him a tryout and put him on the team. Greg said that living in Georgetown was a haven from the racial tension in Cincinnati. He and his teammate, James Taylor, frequently hung out in the Boston area of Georgetown. After graduating, Greg returned to Cincinnati to work at General Motors. He was promoted to a supervisory role and has since worked in several plants and internationally in labor relations, retiring in Missouri. And he's here today, I think. Is he here? There you are. Greg is also a cancer survivor, his sister told me, and has two sons who are college football coaches, one at Wisconsin and one at Youngstown State. We're so glad to have him here. Dorcas Perkins was a student who came to Georgetown from Memphis, Tennessee in 1979. She was a musician, and according to former music professor Danny Tilford, one of the most outstanding vocalists he ever worked with. Dorcas entered the Belle of the Blue competition, the first black student to do so, and was runner-up. Because she was from out of state, she lived on campus, and as far as we can tell, the first black female to live in the dorms. Her roommate, Jane Cutter, who's here, by the way, and a trustee, was moving off campus for student teaching, so Dorcas needed to find a new roommate. Her friend Connie McCormick gladly agreed to share a room with her, but when they told the dorm mother of their plans, she made Connie call her parents in her presence and ask her mother if rooming with a black student was going to be a problem. Her mother confirmed her daughter's decision. Dorcas, however, did not return to Georgetown that fall, and she now lives in Memphis. The stories we've heard from alumni, both black and white, about the struggles, opportunities, and beauty of this time illuminate the character of Georgetown College as a place where the lives of students and families are changed by education and friendship. This period of communal transition, where just a few years before it was illegal for black and white students to be enrolled in the same institution, to a time where all students are welcomed, had to be accomplished by some individuals, some brave students and families who trusted themselves to this college community. We're proud of Georgetown's legacy of education, and we acknowledge the challenge of racism and segregation to that story. The men and women we honor today came to Georgetown as students and as the leading edge of a moral argument that education for all people is a good that is worth struggling for. A way was opened at Georgetown in this time, and by the example of these early black students. One of the many students who followed is now the current mayor of Georgetown, Barney Jenkins. Although the college reflected the social hindrances of racism and legally enforced segregation, these men and women confronted those challenges and made the college a part of their stories. Their stories, your stories, are what bring this college to life. These students changed the college by their trust in our mission and character as a college rooted in Christian love and service. And so can we all. We owe our success today to students like these, and in fact to all those who chose to weave their lives with that of Georgetown College. We are grateful for you. We are grateful for making your part with us here at Georgetown, becoming a part of our saga. Thank you.
I want to thank Roger so much for that wonderful presentation, for saying the names and telling the stories of these wonderful people. These people that otherwise it would be so easy to lose into the history of all of the wonderful students who have come to Georgetown College. But these are people who have made a significant difference in who this college was able to become. Despite the fact that it wasn't necessarily easy, we are so grateful for the fact that your lives have intersected with ours and that you have changed the future for this college. And the same, in many ways, can be said for students who are still here, who are making additional changes and continuing to fight for rights and for acknowledgement. And I hope that you will always continue to do that, to never be content with where we are, but always continue to know that this college wants to and can continue to grow and to thrive and to be a better institution in every way possible, in serving its students and in serving its community and in serving the world. Thank you, everyone, for being here for this convocation. We'll close with Mr. Christopher Powell leading us in our alma mater, and you may stand.
Will you join me in the chorale in singing the alma mater? The words are on your program. Alma mater, our dear Georgetown, belle of the blue, 'tis thee we crown. Thou hast taught us truth and right, and to trust in God's own might. Our alma mater, thy dear honored name, is soul-inspiring. Long live thy fame. To us thou wilt be a beacon to guide, to duty, to faith, and truest loyalty. Please remain standing.
May we go forth from this place today as members and representatives of the Georgetown College community, with gratitude for God's work through these pioneers toward racial justice on this campus and in this community. May we carry on the precedent set by those who came before us to respond to God's call for racial reconciliation and enact this good that is worth struggling for. May we be characterized by justice, break down oppressive barriers, and establish communal bonds of love that lead to flourishing for all humans and all creation, and especially for those who are not yet able to flourish. For if indeed the good is worth struggling for, may God grant us clearer vision for the work remaining to be done and the strength to struggle well. And may we be an institutional community truly defined by this good struggle.